The S&P, the Nasdaq, they're selling off once again. Did the stock market just flash a huge sell signal? That's what we're going to look at today. And we're going to go through our plan, let you know where our entries and exits are. And then we're going to watch that video talking about the exit signal that the market has flashed. So I'm very interested to watch this with you, Joe. But before we get there, welcome to the OVTLYR Trading Room. This is where we help you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. So go ahead and subscribe. You could subscribe all you want, but I prefer if you subscribed if you haven't already and you're watching the replay. So we have 4 different plans: MA, ETF, and sit in cash, and don't F up your portfolio. And listen, if you want normal returns, this is not the place for you. But if you want outlier returns, you're in the right place. So of these two, these are our most offensive plans. Offensive, call it whatever you want. But these are the plans when we have high conviction trades, and we don't right now. We're sitting in plan ETF, and if we get an exit signal here, we're going to go to plan sit in cash and don't F up your portfolio. Now, before we look to enter any new trades, we need to reduce risk, right? We need to make sure that the most important part of the plan is planning on the plan, not going to plan. So we need to look at our exit signals. And like I said, we're in plan ETF now. Let's go through these exit signals here and see if we need to get out. Q's sell signal. Let's go over to the Q's. And we see right here, still sitting on a buy signal. Okay. 1020 bearish cross on the daily Q chart. No, we're good there. And same with SPY, by the way. If you were trading SPY, still got a buy signal there. We don't have that crossover here on the Qs, and we don't have that crossover just yet on the SPY. And a 30-day order block being hit. Both of them, SPY and Qs, have an order block overhead, but neither one is over 30 days old, so we can ignore those. And then lastly, Q closing over the 3 ATR point. That's not happening today. So we don't have any exit signals today. And just that fast, we can determine it. But listen, we need to let the market tell us what it's doing, right? And so let's start here with our market pulse. I should rename this to the market pulse. It's 40% of the move of every stock. And it starts with the SPY, the market having a bullish trend. So inside of the SPY, when it's got a green background like this, that means you have a bullish trend. That's when your 10 is over the 20 and price is over the 50. Looks good there. Next, the SPY has a buy signal. We already established that. So we got the buy signal right here on the SPY. Next, the fear and greed heat map. We actually peaked on SPY, and it peaked at 71.79. Now it's coming down 71.65. So this goes against both of these points. It's over 70 and falling. So because of that, I wouldn't be trading plans M or A, because both of them need to have this set up here. And let's go look at breadth real quick. Breadth is still bearish, meaning more sell signals than buy signals. Now, what I am seeing down here is that we may have hit a bottom on the number of downtrends, a slight tick up on uptrends, and a slight tick down on downtrends, but not enough to trigger the outlier channels right here. When you see these highlighting green and highlighting red, that means more uptrends, less downtrends. That's what we're looking for. We don't have that just quite yet. So, Joe, we don't have to trade anything today. No plan M, no plan A. But what about plan ETF? Could you get into plan ETF today, right? We're already holding plan ETF, so we wouldn't be adding to the position, but let's go look. Both of these two have an uptrend. That's true. Both of these have a buy signal. That's true. We already established the SPY heat map is over 70, so we don't have to go there. Let's go to the Q heat map here, and it is 70.21. So it's also over 70. So that means that today is not an entry or an exit type of day. So therefore, sit on your hands, right? Is that easy enough, Joe?
It is easy enough, but if I could get you to clarify one point, there's been a lot of questions about the value zone associated with plan ETF. Could you bring up the chart and show us the value zone? Because the
Oh, for sure.
question, yeah, the question is, we understand that if we're above the 20, but we're within 2 ATR, that's an entry. But the confusion comes in, what if we're below the 20, but still within 2 ATR? Is that also an entry?
Not possible. It's between the 20 and 2 ATRs. So if you're below the 20, you're not above the 20. That makes sense?
Yep.
So no, that is an impossibility. It has to be over the 20 and below 2 ATRs over the 20 EMA. Does that answer the question?
It does. Yep. Thank you.
See, like right here, we would not be in the value zone today because it looks like it's closing under the 20. Now, granted, I don't love that. I don't love that at all, because that's giving up our short term and our intermediate term moving averages here. But that's why we have a plan. And that's why we have the backtesting data to support the plan, right? Not every candle is going to be a big, beautiful green one. But of course, you need to make sure that you're following your plan. Don't listen to me. I'm just a random guy on the internet. Don't do anything that I say. And in the meantime, let's watch another random guy on the internet. We're going to watch this video titled, let's go to it real quick. The stock market just flashed a major sell signal. Ready to watch this, Joe? I could watch it. Now, granted, we have our market data right here, and he's going to have his own market data. So this is completely independent of one another. You got your SPY bullish trend, your SPY buy signal. The heat map has peaked and it's oh, you can't see that. I'm sorry. The heat map has peaked and it's coming back down. Professional YouTuber can't show his screen. The heat map has peaked and is moving back down, and we have bearish breadth over here. Right. So that is what we have established as market indicators, market awareness indicators here. So I'm curious to see what Ross Givens is saying about this as well.
Quite possible we have already seen the high of the market for 2025. After what has been an historic rally off the April lows, there are early signs of weakness beneath the surface. Market breadth and other key metrics, which I'll review in a moment.
Hey, market breadth. We talk about that all the time, Joe.
Yes, we do.
Are beginning to paint red. And on Tuesday, we just got a very scary sell signal. Today, I'm going to show you what that was and why it could be a sign that the stock market is topping. I'll also show you how I am positioning myself to profit from this potential pullback with a small 5% risk. Now, every bull market has a theme to it. This is really important both to identify what's going to be the big winners and also to know when the party has come to an end. In the late 90s, there was a dot-com stocks where Cisco, AOL, Microsoft, and other players ran thousands of percent when those stocks.
Is this the market cycle? Is he talking about the market cycle here, Joe? I know that I have screen capped this from somebody else's video at one point. Interesting.
Began to roll over. Of course, the party came tumbling down. From 2010 to 2020, the leading theme was big tech, where Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google went on historic runs. After COVID, for the next 2 years, the theme was work from home. Our lives changed in a big way, and the big leading stocks were Zoom, Peloton, Teldoc, and other names that benefited from that. And it is no secret that over the last 3 years, the big theme of the market has been AI.
Is this another AI's crashing video? That was a real big topic about 3 weeks ago. It seemed like everything I turned on my channels was like, the AI is in a bubble. The AI is going to crash. The AI this, the AI that. Maybe they were all right, Joe. Maybe they were all right. I don't make predictions, though.
Yeah, they could be right. They could be wrong. But whoever said the thing that actually happens is the one you'll look to.
All right, let's see.
Artificial intelligence. All the big winners from NVIDIA to Supermicro have been in that space. Even through 2025, most of the big winners have been ancillary groups fueling the AI theme. So things like nuclear power, which is required to run these massive power-hungry data centers, and stocks like SMR and OKLO have ran several 100%. So knowing the theme of the market gets you in front of the winners, but it's also...
That's a great point that he's talking about right there, is knowing the theme of the market. And one of the things that's in our trading plan, and let me pull this up because I think this is a really important point, is going with the theme of the market. Since he mentioned it, I really like that he did, is finding hot sectors, right? Finding hot sectors. And hot sectors can be discretionary. They can be communications. They can be utilities. They can be technology, right? Sectors are pretty broad. But when you find a sector that has a higher greed than the market's greed, that is a hot sector. That's the one you want to invest in. And that reminds me, I've told the story a couple times recently. I'm building up all the curriculum for OVTLYR University. And he talked about how he would buy a hot sector. He would find whatever that sector was. Maybe it was automotive, maybe it was industrials, whatever the case is. And he would buy all the stocks in that sector because that sector was on fire. How do you measure being on fire? Price is going crazy. Right, we've all experienced healthcare in 2020, EV related stocks, weed related stocks. Like there are times when there are market themes. I can totally get on with that. Your job as a trader is to recognize when that's happening and then get in with that theme when the sector is greedy AF, right? More greedy than the market. Now, we measure that using OVTLYR, which makes life really, really easy. Like Kresh is saying, XPI was on fire the last 2 to 3 months, right? XPI, I forget what that is real quick while that's loading. XPI is home builders, State Street, biotech. Yeah, there you go. Forget there's one similar to that. That's home builders. But there you go, right? That is a super hot sector. Makes total sense. Let's go back over to here. This is almost done loading. All right, looking at this, relative greed. None of the sectors have a relative greed higher than the market, which goes along with what we've been doing for a hot minute, which is being defensive, right? There are times to be offensive, times to be aggressive in the market, high conviction trades. Right now is not the time, right? That's why we have our plan set up. It's a 360-degree plan for 365 days to have opportunities come to us when they're there. And when there's not, right, when there's no sectors that are looking beautiful, you can just sit out. You can just sit out. You can just trade the market, right? We can trade QQQ, you can trade SPY and run plain ETF, right? Now, everything that we talk about here is included. It's literally just 82 cents a day. But I don't want you to miss out, because if you don't have OVTLYR, honestly, you're losing money at this point. Let's go back to the video here.
Something to keep an eye on, because when these leaders begin to fall, they tend to bring the rest of the market down with it. And the big mega cap leading stocks of the AI rally have been Nvidia and Microsoft, AMD, Palantir, and they're starting to weaken. Now, I just started using a new brokerage platform, trying this thing out with no expectations. I get to the page to open an account. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. Likely going to move some more money here going forward. We're starting to see some weakness, as I said, in those big leaders. And one of the biggest things I look for, this is both to identify a market bottom and a market top, is divergence. So divergence just means something is doing the exact opposite of what it should do. And so when markets are pulling back, when you're in a bear market, what you want to look for to signal the low is likely in is when the market goes up on bad news, right? All things being
okay. When the market's going up on bad news, that is a bull market. And when the market is going down on good news, that is a bear market. Okay. I don't know if we're having good or bad news. I don't pay attention to the news. I just pay attention to price. But when you see the market moving up and you're like, but that's bad news, take your ego, take your bias and throw it out the window, because it doesn't matter. This is a bull that's not going to stop. Or conversely, when the market's going down, but the CPI report was amazing, and the jobs report and the fundamentals and the earnings are so great. Why are the stocks going down? That is a bear market. Get the frick out. Okay. You don't have to trade through those type of events. So let's see what he says.
Equal. Bad news makes stocks go down, good news makes them go up. So if stocks or certain stock or index is so oversold that it's going up even on bad news, that is letting you know that all our sellers are out of the way, everything is fully priced in, and you really have nowhere to go but up. And if we look back through time, go back in 2020 when the market sold off huge from the COVID situation, right in here is when COVID was at the worst. This is when they announced they'd be shutting down the economy, businesses couldn't open, there's quarantine, all the big fears in the market, and that was the absolute low. And if you notice in the middle of
I mean, I don't remember when all that happens, like to the exact date, but it was probably more up here when all that was going down. Just saying.
all this bad news we had this day, right in here, and I'll kind of try to I'll zoom in on this a little bit. But this single day, the NASDAQ index rose 7.7% in this sea of bad news, this massive up day in the market. That was divergence. The market's going up on all this terrible news that ended up being low. In the 2022 bear market, which was fueled by above average inflation, forcing the Fed to drastically raise interest rates, and everything shot down right here in June. This is when we got the worst CPI report we'd seen in 40 years. Inflation, consumer price index inflation showed 9.1% year-over-year inflation. Worst we've seen since the 1980s. And yet, look what happened. Right as this awful news is coming out, the market begins rising, ran 10% in about a week and a half. That was a short-term low. It did come back and revisit this because news got a little bit worse, but for the most part, if you bought there in 2022, you'd be pretty darn happy you did. It was an early sign of.
Hold on. You'd be pretty darn happy you bought it in 2022 when it was literally at the same level until maybe April 2023, an entire calendar year based on his chart right there. I don't know. I feel like he's picking some cherries right there. We'll let him continue though.
Divergence. And even if we go back to the trade war and the big sell-off and short-term bear market we had in March and April of this year, right here in this week, that's when the tariffs really heated up with China. Trump put, I don't know, 150% tariffs on China. They didn't back down, slapped retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. It was the peak and the worst news. And then we got this day right here where the market rallied 12% in a single day. That is divergence, a big.
I do want to point out, and I'm going to abandon this video. I do want to point out that right there, where he's talking about the market going up 12% in a single day. Joe, you've probably heard people talking about how if you miss the 10 best days of the year, you would be down, whatever percent in your portfolio, right?
I have, yes. That's a common saying. It's a little scare tactic.
Joe, do you know when those 10 best days of the year usually happen?
No.
After giant sell-offs. Okay. So let's look at this. This one giant candle right here was 12%. 12% on the NASDAQ in a single day. That's equivalent to like a year and a half of gains in one day. But never mind that we already went down 23% before that happened. Never mind you that point, okay? Never mind the fact that you completely sidestepped this by using the OVTLYR trend template, the 10 under the 20 price under. Don't ignore the guy behind the curtain, okay? Just focus in on this one candle. Focus. That's the only thing that matters. And then this one to here, that looks pretty big. What about this one? Here to here, like a 4-ish% gain right there. You were already in an uptrend. Your 10 was over the 20, price was over the 50, right? That candle makes sense. That's when you could have traded and it would have been amazing. But when you hear people try and scare you into saying, oh, if you miss the 10 best days of the year, you're going to miss out on everything. The majority of those times where you get the 10 best days of the year are after enormous, gut-busting, monkey-hammering sell-offs. That's when they come. So instead of hoping and praying you can make back some money, you can just like sidestep it. Yeah. So losing 20%, but gaining 12%, that's great. That's great. Exactly. That's what people want to convince you of. That's exactly what they want to convince you of. You know what I want to convince people of, Joe, is that OVTLYR is the greatest thing ever. And it's only 82 cents a day. But in the meantime, if you don't want to listen to me, listen to these amazing people here in the chat. And we put out like 2,000 videos trying to show you everything that you're going to need to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk. So YouTube is going to pop up one of those right now in front of our faces. And Joe, we got to do the finger dance. We got to do the finger dance.
That's right.
Y'all have a great day. We'll talk soon.